Back now with Frankie Corrado. It's time for fantasy or reality. Frankie, you know exactly how this goes. I'll make a statement. You tell me if it's fantasy or reality. Let's start with the Pens. Just 2 points out of a playoff spot. General manager Kyle Dubas made a big mistake selling at the deadline, shipping out Sidney Crosby's winger Jake Guentzel. Fantasy or reality?
I will say reality, Gino, but I'm not going to say that he shipped him out. I'm going to say that you didn't sign Jake Guentzel. Like, Jake Guentzel and Sidney Crosby have gone together so well, and it was very clear to see that Sidney Crosby didn't exactly appreciate Jake Guentzel being moved. And if your team, you still want it to be good in transition, I don't see why you couldn't have done that without Jake Guentzel on your team still. So the mistake was not necessarily moving on from Jake Guentzel. The mistake was not trying to sign him and get him under contract.
Good point. Flyers and Islanders are also still on the hunt for spots in the East. Here's the statement. The playoffs will be better if Lightning Rod coaches John Tortorella and Patrick Roy get into the playoffs. Fantasy or reality?
I'm going to say that's a fantasy, Gino. As much as we appreciate the coaches and what they say after the games, I want to see the product on the ice be the best it can be. And if you're asking me, seeing Sidney Crosby in the playoffs, seeing Patrick Kane in the playoffs, those are two players that have been known for having excellent playoff performances, stealing the show on any given night. So watching that product on the ice is going to be more entertaining than any kind of soundbite we're going to get after a game.
All right. Okay, 70 games to go for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews, 7 goals shy of 70. Frankie, Matthews will turn it on down the stretch and reach that incredible milestone. Fantasy or reality?
I want this to be a reality, Gino. I want to see 70 goals for Austin Matthews. He deserves it. He's had an incredible season, and he's playing the best hockey of his career at the right time. Doesn't have Mitch Marner with him the last little while? No problem. He continues to fill the back of the net. And anytime we can see someone achieve greatness and do something that hasn't been done in a long time within this sport, I think it's excellent for the game of hockey. It's great for fans. So absolutely, yes, I would love to see it. And Austin Matthews' game would make this a reality at this point.
All right, one more for you now, Frankie. The 8 playoff teams in the Western Conference look to be set. 3 of them are Canadian teams, the Canucks, the Oilers, and the Jets. Here's the statement. One of Vancouver, Edmonton, or Winnipeg will win the conference and head to the Stanley Cup final this year. Is that fantasy or reality?
Gino, this is a good one. I'm probably leaning towards fantasy. And the Edmonton Oilers, I have said it in the past that there's a very good chance they're going to the Stanley Cup final. It feels a little different now. Of course, I could be proven wrong. Right now, I look at the Western Conference, and the Dallas Stars have been so impressive. They're a well-built team, deep down the middle, deep scoring, really solid blue line now that they've added Chris Tanev, and he's had time to acclimate there. But the one thing that's really separating them is Jake Ottinger's game is rounding into form, and the Dallas Stars look like a team you do not want to play. So if the Edmonton Oilers have to run into the Dallas Stars, we just saw what that looks like, and that's going to be a very difficult matchup for them.
For the record, FanDuel has a bet right now. The Canadian teams versus the field to win the Stanley Cup this year. Teams north of the border are plus 250 to snap the drought dating back to 1993.